Welsh language bands may not seem as popular as they were in the music press a while ago, but for bands like Anrefn, they're still as dedicated as ever to preserving Welsh culture. And they recently did an out-of-the-ordinary gig at the top of Snowdon.
We did a gig on the top of Snowdon, which was billed as this year's highest rave, which the music press obviously wouldn't print because they knew we were telling lies. But it was just an idea that Snowdon, being the highest mountain in Wales, is normally run for and by English tourists, and for one afternoon there was like a Welsh language rock band up there, and we took the little train up with all the yobs on it, so all the local people got up to the top of Snowdon for only £5, and the tickets are normally about 12 to 16. So it's like, the closest we get to musical terrorism. For a short period of time we reclaimed something, like the highest mountain, we reclaimed it back. So that was the idea,
One of the reasons that we're doing what we're doing, one of the sort of serious reasons is that we want people to know that there's such a thing as the Welsh language, and we want our place in the world, and we're just doing it naturally because we are Welsh. We just do it naturally, and I've lost track totally what I was trying to say.
We combine both aspects of fun and a serious political message.
Yeah.
There's no reason why they both can't be combined. I think most people who come to gigs are aware of both things. I think that's what we're trying to get across.
I don't worry about the Welsh language dying out because I don't think it will. I think, we've just got to face all that kind of nonsense. And Anrefn can do it to a certain limit. We play a certain kind of music that appeals to a certain number of people. But there's a never-increasing number of Welsh language bands. Most of them will never ever get outside Wales. Most of them will never ever get seen or heard. But it doesn't make any difference because the young kids in Wales are picking up on it and relating to Welsh language and Welsh culture. When I was a teenager, there wasn't that much of Welsh culture. I grew up looking to England for inspiration, And we're lucky now that we're older, we can put that back into Wales.
There's quite a serious side to it as well with what we're trying to do to keep our culture alive, and that's really, really important. It's part of us. It's something we can never forget about, or just put to one side. It's as much part of us as anything else.
Yeah, that is the driving force,
getting around, meeting people, seeing things, doing this, doing that. It's all very nice.
We don't bear grudges, do we? We don't hold anything against any particular culture. I just want to throw that in.
The culturists, not nationalists, as they say, that's the usual. Yeah. But the thing is, you find there's young sort of black bands now, reggae bands like One Stone from London, who've been up to Wales, and they've actually decided to translate one of their songs, a song called Jump for Joy, into the Welsh language. And these are young kids from Hackney. And their sort of messages, being young, sort of oppressed black kids, are so similar to what we are, being young, sort of, or not so young Welsh kids, so we're not even kids anymore, Welsh late 20-year-olds. You do find that, it's the same coming back to the Basques. There's so much common ground in all these places that I think as we go through the 90s, there's going to be more of that, there's going to be, like the media and the sort of that kind of thing is going to get, well, they'll decide whether they show it or not, but actually people will get beyond that and link up, and the small cultures, the whole world are going to rise up before them.
As we said, part of the most important thing is to see people enjoying themselves and meeting people, especially in somewhere like Wales. The whole thing, one thing that I don't particularly like playing in England is this whole sort of indie scene where it's hey man, I'm in a band and all that. But in Wales it's much more a community thing. You put on a gig, say in a community centre, and people from 8 to 50 or 60 years old will come, and they'll all get together and have a good time. There's no bullshit at all in it, and in gigs there's no bullshit in that either. Everyone just gets on. We get to know half the crowd most of the time anyway, and that's part of the best thing about doing it, is just getting to know so many people. It's almost as important as doing the music.
I think the attention it received was just a good bit of journalism for a while. You know what I mean? Like, I got something new here. They weren't actually serious about see what's happening in Wales. It's what are they up to, like?
Every 2 or 3 years they rediscover Welsh music, and it's not like it dies because we still still going. But people said that about Andrew, you know, like, oh, 1986, you had a Peel session, you were really doing well. What happened? Nothing happened. We went off to Germany to do a tour, you know. It's like the press will constantly rediscover it. And, you know, the music press are particularly bad on this one because they'll do a review and they'll say, oh, right, this is really interesting, or the Enemy will do a page on the Welsh scene, and then they'll drop it. And they won't write about anyone for another year because they've just had a Welsh page, you know. So it's not our problem, but it is in terms of business, you know. I think it's not actually a conspiracy, but it's close to it. Like the English and the German and the sort of, again, the imperialist countries, they couldn't handle it if they lost control and like Welsh bands actually became successful. Neither could the record companies, you know, it's a fact of life, you have to live with that one.